Welcome. In this video I will attempt to conquer one of Minecraft's most treacherous terrains, the floating islands. I will live on these islands for the span of over 100 days. Throughout this time there will be success but also hardship. This is surviving over 100 days on Minecraft's floating islands. Also, if you do find yourself enjoying the video, subscribe. It's completely free, and if at some point you find you're not enjoying my content anymore, you can always unsubscribe. Enjoy. At the start of day one, I spawned in a taiga, and I kind of slipped into a berry bush literally immediately. I don't know why I did this, it was very intelligent. A great way to start off the days, you know. And I found a boat off in the distance, so I decided to kind of go and check that thing out and got, like, some food out of it. But, you know, there was nothing else in it because the boat was just kind of half there. I don't know why the game did this, it just likes to torture me, evidently. We decided to get all of the basic Minecraft things, such as, you know, wood and stone and so on. And eventually came across this cave with a zombie in it and some iron, which was kind of nice, you know, to gather that up. Always good to have, along with some coal that we found up in a ravine that was pretty close to the cave. And we also got some more iron, some more coal a little ways away. There was a mega taiga actually pretty close to us, which is a rather rare biome, so it was kind of surprising to see this. And, you know, I obliterated some sheep. I'm not sorry at all. And slept my night away with a pig as it watched me. Upon waking up, I kind of just stared the pig down and then brutally murdered him because I didn't like what he did that night. He did some weird things, let me tell you. It's not PG. Anyways, we then murdered his family that was close by for some food and walked past the mutant ninja turtles. I don't know why they were there. We got some wood and then casually speed bridged across the void because that's a very intelligent thing to do when hardcore is enabled. But I mean, you know, surprisingly enough, you know, the taiga was pretty dense and you could barely even like tell that it was floating islands around me until you got out of it, and then there was this weird stuff outside and pumpkins and such. I don't know. It was a weird experience, to be honest, and we ended off day 2 here by smelting up all of our food and iron that we had gotten, crafting up like some armor and such, and then getting a bunch of tools and everything together as well. Then finally sleep our way through the rest of the night. Upon awaking on day 3, we quickly found more boats. There was a lot of these this day. We got relatively wealthy off of boats as well, and then eventually found this pirate map and followed it across the void and to eventually its location to get a decent bit of loot out of it. Then we found another boat as well. Not much to note. And on day 4, very, very similar compared to the last day. We kind of just went around looting things. There was a lot of different places to loot. There was a boat. We also found this city that was right beside the boat, which you'll see here in a second once we eventually got out of the boat right here. You know, we looted this up, stole everything because that's what great people do, right? And then we looted another treasure map. Towards the end of day 4, we found this village. Half of it was cast away into the void. It was really strange. We eventually went over and stole from them because that's what you do to homeless people. And we admired the void once again. Kind of just laughed at them. And then eventually went to sleep. I woke up and chose violence because I immediately stole once again from the homeless villagers. And on our way out, I saw these really cool looking icebergs, and I kind of just stared at them for a very long time. I mean, look at them. They look honestly really nice. Eventually I found this lava lake, and we made a bucket to begin gathering obsidian because, you know, we need obsidian. We got 14 of it for both the portal and the enchantment table before I finally left. And eventually I spotted this this cube of water in the distance, and I got very scared from the Elder Guardian. And then saw it was an ocean monument. I got happy after that and found these 2 zombie villagers. These guys, this was a very nice find. We trapped them up, took a screenshot of the cords, and kind of just left. On day 6, I had decided that I would stay in the area that I found the zombie villagers because honestly those guys are a pretty lucky find. So I went out and got saplings, and in the savannah I bridged over to, there was this village that was just gone, obliterated, and also that desert temple which we're now going into. We didn't get too much of anything good from this. I mean, the horse armor is kind of cool, same with the emeralds, but there is really nothing. I mean, the TNT is nice. I don't think we're ever going to use TNT for anything, but, you know, just in case it's there. And we left pretty quickly and just had to sleep away the rest of the night. Day 7, we went to the taiga in order to get more wood, and I also found a polar bear in the distance, and I kind of wanted this guy. I thought it would be cool to have a pet polar bear, so we were going to come back for him in the future. But for the rest of this day, we just kind of mined wood because, you know, Minecraft, that's the thing to do. We also torched off below our base so things like that spider won't spawn. And we also finally made a chest to store our things in. On day 8, I had one objective in mind, and that was to get that polar bear and bring it back to my base. So the first thing I did was craft up leads to do just that. Instead of only collecting the polar bear, I also found a couple of pigs over in the taiga, so I decided to bring them back with me because for some reason, animals do not spawn anywhere around me. The way back was kind of scary because the bridges were really narrow, and there was a couple of times where it looked like any of the creatures could have fell off at any moment. Look at how happy we all are together. It's like one big family coming together. The first thing I did on day 9 was come up with a great name for the polar bear with my amazing naming skills. So the name I came up with? Rallock. Do not search into that name at all. I decided to also name the pigs because I thought it would be unfair to only name the polar bear, and I came up with a great name for them as well. They're called cannon fodder. I honestly don't know why I came up with this name, it's just what I said when I was recording. I also decided to make a small farm near the outside of the base to grow carrots and wheat on. I never really used this too much though, and the path looked terrible because half the dirt wasn't fully grown yet. Days 10 through 11 I had plans to travel out to the Nether, so I slowly made up a portal in order to do just that. When I first went there, we spawned literally in a basalt delta, and let me tell you, that biome is absolutely stupid. There is so much lava, magma cubes, and just craters everywhere. It's the worst biome to maneuver around. It's so bad. And then on top of that, the magma cubes in there have the largest hitbox. It's just so dumb. After a little while of searching, I eventually came across the fortress. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and luckily it wasn't in the basalt delta, so I would have been a little bit upset. It was in a nether waste. But once we went in there, we immediately killed a wither skeleton, which dropped a skull, which was very surprising. I did not expect to get that. I gathered up a few chests inside the fortress, didn't really get anything noteworthy, so I decided to just go right back outside to begin collecting blaze rods. My odds were terrible here. I decided to just cut it down so you didn't have to see me kill like 30 blazes. It was atrocious. I ended off my adventures by trading what gold I had on me with the piglins, but I really got nothing good out of this, so it wasn't really worth it, and I just decided to leave the Nether. Evidently, even cannon fodder has rights because I decided to construct them a place to live. This was kind of strange. Pigs weren't going to be the only animals I held hostage because I also found 2 black sheep over in the savannah, and I decided to take them back to my base due to, once again, animals not being able to spawn around me. Bookshelves were needed for an enchantment table, so I decided to travel out to the Stronghold in order to get the bookshelves I needed. So I slowly began throwing eyes of vendors to make my way over to the Stronghold. And on top of that, I decided to speed bridge across the void because my brain is just very large, evidently. Getting down to the portal was kind of sketchy because I decided to forget my water bucket, which was kind of stupid of me. But once we got down there, we bridged across the Stronghold to the library to get the bookshelves I needed. Which, it was completely sketchy doing that because it was all dark down there. I was afraid I was getting shot off by a skeleton. I decided to take a peek into the portal room for a quick second and break the silverfish spawner because I didn't want those things somehow breaking the walls around me with their little silverfish screams. And I also bridged over to the other library, and I found this really, really busted enchanted book in there. Like, I was very surprised to see this. And on my way out, a skeleton decided to fall out of the sky and jump scare me. I thought the man was going to shoot me off. It was a terrible experience. And then when we finally got out of the Stronghold, I found this wandering trader, and the man did not sell me anything good. He was a very bad businessman, let me tell you. So what did I do? I stabbed him, and I stole his pets. Have I ever said how much I just love chopping trees? Because I swear I ended up doing it like half of the days here. We just chopped and gathered spruce wood. And we did this now in order to get wood for the base. And whilst out adventuring, I found a cave, and it actually had a zombie dungeon in it. So I decided to take a screenshot of the cords, but I never actually used this for anything. Day 16 began with me torching off the areas around my base, and I ran into this cave and killed this skeleton, and this gravel did like this really satisfying thing. I don't know why I enjoyed that so much. The rest of days 16 through 18, they were primarily since setting up the new base. I decided to just go with spruce wood because I was pretty lazy and I didn't really feel like gathering any other resources, and with all the trees I had already previously gathered, I already had a lot of wood. I did make 2 rooms in this base, one of which was for storage, whilst the other one was the main room, which I just have all of my crafting stuff in, and my bed. Once the base was finally finished, I transferred everything from my chest above into the new chest down below in the storage room. On day 19, I began gathering everything needed to secure the villagers that I had gotten at the start of these 100 days. This included me going all the way out to the Nether in order to get gold, because I didn't have enough to make the golden apples I needed for these villagers. After getting everything I needed, I began to the slow processing of curing these villagers, and what I wanted to do with these guys was get one of the guys that sells sticks, I don't remember what they're called, the Fletchlers, I believe. And then I wanted to get an armor smith, because diamonds did not really like to spawn on these islands, so I decided this would be the best way to get diamond armor. As they were curing, one of the guys got hungry and tried to eat the other villager. I don't know why this was, he was just kind of feeling cannibalistic, but shortly after they were both cured and everything was fine. On the start of day 20, I made this little pillbox thing for the villagers to sit in and began setting up their trades for the Fletchler and the armor smith. I then slowly began trading with them to absolutely inflate the economy with emeralds and sticks because, you know, that's what Minecraft likes to teach you. Inflating the economy is good, evidently. And slowly over time, I began getting the pieces of diamond armor I needed. And I think I got like 4 sets in total, which was kind of crazy. Towards the end of the day, I set up an enchantment table in order to start this enchanting process, as I mentioned. Evidently, I enjoyed dancing with death because I decided to jump into a lava pit and kind of just chilled in there for a little while until eventually crawling out. I then only had carrots really to heal with, so it didn't really work too well, but everything ended up fine in the end. The reason I was in the Nether was to gather experience levels through mining quartz. This was a little bit of a time-consuming process because, you know, the quartz are all the way in the Nether wastes, but eventually we hit level 30 and went back and enchanted our chest piece. During the night, I found another zombie villager, so we ended up trapping this guy. Because, you know, the more villagers you have enslaved, the more profits there are to be had. On the beginning of day 22, we traveled back to the Nether in order to mine up quartz to get back to level 30 to then enchant some more of our tools. However, you see, the game had other plans for us, because as we were running through the basalt deltas, some really dumb things happened, and as you can see, it led to some very unfortunate events. We did in fact die on day 22, and now I did not want to continue. I'm gonna be honest, I sat here for a while, I pondered it for a very long time. I was like, should I actually just restart, or should I continue? Because day 21, or day 22, sorry, you've got to realize that's a lot of hours already put into it. That's like nearly, I believe that's nearly 7 hours put into the days. So it's a long time that I had already invested. So eventually I decided I would just start again from where I died, and we just wouldn't, you know, clickbait the title with hardcore because, you know, we ended up actually dying once in here. So I'm sorry if that disappoints anyone, but, you know, I decided to do that instead of, you know, restarting, which would take another like additional 7 hours, which would not have been fun at all. And we spent the rest of that day regathering our stuff and getting back to level 30. Day 24 started with us curing the zombie village that we had gotten a few days prior, and we then slowly boated him into his new prison cell, or I mean, you know, humble marketing establishment, in order to become a toolsmith. And the reason we needed a toolsmith was, once again, you know, the diamonds not liking to spawn. So we could get unlimited diamond tools without having to ever go and try and find them, because, you know, for whatever reason, they really did not like to spawn. The trades were not really wanting to refresh, so I did what any madman would do. I placed down a bell and just began absolutely annihilating all of their eardrums until eventually they would refresh the trades, which ended up working because eventually I did get the axe trades, the pickaxe trades. I believe shovels are in there. I'm not honestly sure. I do not remember. I then tested my luck with a pickaxe enchantment. However, I only got a Fortune 3 pickaxe, which, you know, is not good at all. And after that, I realized, you know, I don't have much lapis. I need to start looking for some lapis around the world. So I began mining to try and find some of that. Frantically mining around under my base wasn't really proving to be successful, so I decided to go out and explore around the Mega Taiga, and eventually came across a cave, which I then decided to explore that. There was a few mobs in there that I had to go through and kill, but there was really no lapis at all. As I was out there exploring as well, I found 3 dogs, and I tamed all of them. I don't think I had very many bones, and I named these guys, actually. I'm very great at naming. You can trust me on that. And I named them Larry, Terry, and Jerry. Because once again, you know, I'm very great at naming things. And we continued searching for potentially finding lapis. We went to this mine shaft that was under the islands and looked around there, but I still found nothing. So for some reason, it seemed as if lapis, as well as like the diamonds and redstones and stuff, just did not spawn at all. It was very stupid. We relaxed a little bit on day 26. We chopped down some trees just to get some more sticks to inflate the economy with, because, you know, inflation is very poggers. And we also filled up this little hole that was back behind the villagers because I didn't want to accidentally fall off the cliff and just die. That would be not fun at all. I also found a zombie villager right outside my base, and I decided to take him back because I did in fact still need lapis. So we were going to make him an alchemist, but at the same time as that was happening, a zombie horde spawned underneath of my base, and there was a lot of these guys. There was so many of them. I went down there and thinned the horde out, and then decided that that would be a good spot to call it a day. The new villager was quickly trapped. I definitely did not give him several concussions through this process, and enslaved to now produce lapis. Because once again, lapis was really dumb. I still don't know why. I was very upset about this for so long, that lapis just did not like spawning. So we finally got him set up, finally got the lapis trade going, and everything was good. We also decided to go and enchant a sword because they were once again level 30 through farming monsters and the villager trading. And I got pretty bored of just farming levels, so my great idea was, let's just go and fight the Ender Dragon and get all of the levels off of him. So that's exactly what we did. We set off for the Stronghold, and once we got there, we waited until day 28 to finally enter the portal and fight the dragon. The time had come. It was the dawn of the 28th day, and I was going to slay the dragon in order to solely become vastly wealthy and have the strongest armor I could possibly have. Yes, this was the only reason. And just like that, the dragon had been slain. All of the XP was ours. There was definitely 0 close calls in that fight. I did not get sent all the way to the top of the map and back down to the ground at all. That never happened. It did not fail an emoji. Anyways, though, we got all of the levels that we wanted. And we were able to get the dragon egg with ease. We did not somehow manage to break it. And with that, collected, dragon slain. We went back to the overworld, enchanted all of our things, so we were now vastly wealthy as I had originally planned to be. With the dragon now dead, I traveled back to the Stronghold because, for some reason, I recalled seeing lapis over here. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if lapis just doesn't like oceans or taigas, so they don't spawn. But for whatever reason, the lapis was perfectly okay with spawning in a forest biome and a plains biome. But, I guess, I mean, hey, at least it spawned it. So we gathered up that lapis. We now finally had some, and we were able to complete the rest of our tools and armor because we couldn't before due to running out of lapis. Days 30 through 32, we traveled back to the end in order to finally go over to the other part of the end realm to find these end cities, because we really wanted that elytra. Quickly, we did actually find an end city, and I do not believe the first one had a boat. I think it was just kind of a lame end city with nothing there. We went in there, we raided it. We didn't really get anything too amazing out of it, aside from, like, the shulker shells, you know, maybe some bits and pieces of diamond armor, you know, like the usual stuff you get. And we left that one pretty quickly, and actually came across a second one. This one did have a boat. It was a very high up boat, and for whatever reason, you see, this boat decided to only spawn with half of a boat. I don't know why. I genuinely have no clue why it did this. I think maybe it spawned on a chunk error or something. But there was no elytra in this boat because of it, and I was very upset. It took me probably a solid 20 to 30 more minutes to find the next boat, and when I did, I found 3 end cities right beside each other. There was 2 boats. It was actually, like, very nice. We decided to go over to the shorter boat, or I guess the lower boat, because, you know, it was easier to access. And we pearled over to that, and instantly ran in, kind of just robbed the place, absolutely ransacked it, murdered the guard because, you know, he's a loser. Why does he have to guard wings, right? He's just a box. He can't fly with them anyways. So we finally got the elytra, which, oh my gosh, I was so annoyed with that last boat, let me tell you. Once we finally got the elytra, we began raiding these places, and there was so many end cities. I cannot even fathom, like, how many there were. We found a solid probably 8 to 9 of them, as you'll see here. They just kept coming. I don't know why. It was crazy. Like, we got so many elytras, we got, like, so much of everything. There was at one point, like, I swear, like, 5 end cities on the screen at once. It was just insane. I've never seen so many end cities in my life. The amount of stuff we got from them was just absolutely ridiculous, and it was crazy. We finally traveled back to the base, and our haul was pretty amazing, as you can see. That we got a lot of things, and it was overall very, very worth it to raid all of the end cities. Now that we had an elytra, there was one big ingredient that we needed aside from the gunpowder. So, on day 33, I got to work on making up a sugarcane farm. It was pretty small, but it'll get the job done in the end. Paper realistically isn't, like, the most expensive thing in a firework recipe. Towards the end of the day, I decided to go out and gather some obsidian as well, because I wanted to begin linking portals at the top of the Nether. And on day 34, we did just that. We went first to the Stronghold to set up a portal, and we took a screenshot of these cords just so we knew exactly where to place this on the Nether roof. And the next big step was, of course, getting onto the Nether roof, as I had not actually done this yet. So we went up there and ender pearled through the ceiling. I kind of dropped below half HP, ignore that, it's fine. And I saw this method on YouTube to break bedrock. I honestly don't know if this works or not, because I failed it twice. And I then searched for zombie villagers the rest of the night, but I had no luck. Day 34, I went out to a forest and completely stripped it of leaves because I needed these in order to make a walkway out to an enderman farm I had plans on building. That night, we once again went out looking for zombie villagers, however, we found literally none. Most of day 36 was spent mining endstone for the, as mentioned previously, enderman farm plan. But later that night, I did find a zombie villager, and I actually found a second one later. and he kind of got trapped in this hole. He was burning and burning me alive, and it was not a fun experience. And then a skeleton decided he was going to join in on the party. It was just overall not a good experience at all. 10 out of 10. Don't do this, but we got him in the end. Day 37, I had plans to make these guys into librarians, so I instantly began curing them because I wanted mending, unbreaking, or any types of those books. So we began shuffling through these guys until eventually maybe getting one. On day 38, the first book showed itself, and it was an Unbreaking 3 for surprisingly only 1 emerald, which was a really good deal. So once we got that, we concussed the other villager and trapped him in his new marketing place. Yes, not cage. Day 39, we began cycling through the trades, and we immediately actually got a mending book. However, this was very expensive, like 19 emeralds, so I refreshed it. I said no way, and began starting up again. And eventually, we got another mending book. This one was for 14. And I sat there for a little bit, wondering, should I keep this, or should I not? And I, of course, refreshed it again, because I'm getting scammed. We got another one, 12 emeralds. I was getting very upset at this point, and I just refreshed that one immediately as well. Eventually, though, we finally got one for 9 emeralds, and I just decided to settle on this. I could not keep going on. I was just done at this point. It was just annoying. Days 40 through 42 started with me making up name tags for both Ralop, because, you know, he obviously needs one, and our Endermite we would be getting for the Enderman farm, and I named that one Badermite because that's exactly what he does. I had another name in mind, however, it would have gotten me demonetized, so we did not use that one. But Ralop was very, very excited to be finally named Ralop officially. As you can see, he's ecstatic. And we got straight into the start of the Enderman farm right after that. And we bridged out with the leaves and then kind of like set up a mini platform with them as well, to then get the base of the Enderman farm constructed on that. And I used endstone bricks because that's typically what I use. It just kind of fits the whole end vibe, the endstone bricks and stuff. And I kind of like made this design through it. You can't really see it too well here, but once I show it at the end, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. We got the Endermite very, very quickly, and he didn't really want to get in the minecart, which was kind of annoying. I don't know why he did that. And then we kind of just speed bridged around because I like to flex. You see, the clout is better than the potential of death. Then again, we had an elytra on, so, you know, it's fine, we're chilling. But we finally got it finished. And once we got it finished, we were able to just, you know, start grinding them, getting the XP, repairing everything that we had, and it was a great time overall. I feel like I haven't been too violent recently, aside from, you know, maybe murdering the entire Enderman population several times over. But, you know, that what kind of disregard that? We decided on days 43 through 44 to raid some bastions because, you know, murder and stuff is fun. Don't quote me on that, but we raided these things. We got some loot out of like these bastions. I don't think we got too much of interest. You know, we kind of just stabbed a lot of pigmen. We did get the gold. There was a lot of gold to be had, which was actually quite nice because, you know, there's a lot of uses for gold. And we also got like a bunch of netherite scraps and such, which on day 45 we ended up turning into a netherite ingot and converting our pickaxe into a netherite pickaxe, which was a very, very good like investment to me, at least. I think it was the best thing we could have made netherite at the time. So that is what we did. And then throughout the rest of day 45, I began mining blackstone because I had a project in mind for a basement to go kind of like back behind it under the base. And this project will consist of the rest of the days, honestly. And days 46 through 47, we did much of the same. It was just mining more and more blackstone for this basement project that I had in mind. And you'll see why we needed this much blackstone. Because on days 48 through 49, we began finally excavating out the beginning space for this new basement. However, this space that we were mining out was much, much smaller than what the final would be. This was only a very small perimeter of the full scale of what the basement was going to be. And after mining this out, I realized that I would now need a beacon. So on days 50 through 57, what we did was go out to the Nether and raided bastions. We powered through these things just to get gold. And there's a little bit of a brief compilation here of all of that together that I'll just let play over here. We did take a brief pit stop over at the Enderman farm to repair our pickaxe, armor, and weapons because we were taking a little bit of a beating, and the pickaxe we kind of needed to be mining through like the nether portions sometimes and through the bastions as well. There was this one bastion that I recall, and it was just, it was insane. We got 2 netherite ingots out of it, and then got jumped by a magma cube, which was not very fun. We kind of had to fill in that hole in case we got knocked into it. The magma cubes in these things, let me tell you, they were kind of annoying. And we also got a 3rd netherite ingot, because why not? And an ancient debris, because, you know, this one, I've never seen 3 netherite ingots in one spot before. Like, it's crazy, honestly. Then we finally managed to loot up the last bastion and head on our way back to the overworld after these very, very long sets of days. Upon finally arriving back, we began smelting up all of the netherite we had gathered in order to begin making more netherite ingots, because we somehow managed to get enough to make literally everything into netherite, which honestly, no netherite mining, that's pretty cool. I don't know how we did it, but it was a very great profit aside from like just the gold blocks that we had gotten. And when we put all that stuff on, let me tell you, it looked pretty nice. Just being fully stacked in like netherite, it's just such a great feeling, you know. And then as soon as we got all of our netherite stuff crafted up, all of our gear together, we went over to the nether for the last piece of the puzzle, the wither. And we killed, like, I think it was literally like the 1st or 2nd wither skeleton. We got a skull. The other one did not really come as quickly. It took a little while to get, which was a little bit annoying, honestly. I wish we could have got it a lot quicker than we did, but, you know, as you know, at least we got it eventually. I guess that's what matters, right? We did go through so many, and it was very, very annoying. But once we got it right here, you know, it's just great. We can now slay the wither in order to get the required nether star for the beacon. Day 60, of course, is time for the wither. So we crafted up some strength potions. We didn't have gunpowder, so we just kind of settled for strength 1, and then we set up the spot to fight the wither. Now that was a rather anticlimactic fight, but hey, we got the Nether Star, and we got the beacon set up. With the beacon now set in place, it was finally time to actually start mining everything out, and that is exactly what we did on days 61 through 63. We began finally starting out the basement for real this time, mining out a very, very large area, and then we kind of had to leave on day 64 to then refarm up Enderman, because, you know, we kind of lost that pick durability. We lost it quickly, let me tell you. We went through that pick durability way too quickly. Days 65 and 68 were a lot like the other ones, as in we mined, and we mined a lot, let me tell you. The amount of stone and just everything that we have collected from this is just ridiculous. We got so much stuff. We got, I want to say probably halfway done with clearing out the room with this section of days before we had to go back on day 69, haha, funny number, to get the pickaxes repaired again, because we literally went through 4 of them, or I think we had 4 at this point. We went through 4 pickaxes and mining that out, which was not fun at all. Trust me, I wish I could say the mining was over, but it was not. Like, the amount of hours this took to mine out, from, what was this now, days 61, now days 72. That's 10 days. That's like a solid 4 hours, maybe even 5, of just mining out the stone. And we eventually, on day 73, started making the staircase design. This was the last bit that we needed. And once that was done, we were finally done mining this out. And with everything now being mined out, it was time to start work on the first of the walls to go up. And this right here is why we need all of the blackstone. We were doing a blackstone design for all of the walls in the basement. And this is what we came up with for the first wall. Overall, I think it looks pretty good. It wasn't terrible. And, you know, we then began sorting the chests as we moved into day 76 through day 77, because the second wall now needed to go up, and where my old chests were is right where the wall was going to go. And on days 78 through 80, once we got those chests now sorted out, we began work on the next wall, which was going to have an identical design to the wall behind me. And we slowly but surely converted this wall over to the new blackstone design with the lava, and overall, I think the two together, it doesn't look that bad. I was surprised. I've never really built before, so it looked pretty good to me. With the smaller walls now being complete, it was time to move on to the much larger walls of our long hall corridor, I guess is what I'm going to call it. These walls here were much taller. The design was completely different because I wanted to try something different to see if I could make something better, which I think I made something that looked a lot better than these other walls. The process for this was pretty simple to make. I kind of just jumped around like a kangaroo placing blocks. We added in these stairs as well, just to add a little bit more detail along with the, I believe those are chiseled blackstone, chiseled polished blackstone, I believe is what they're called. We also integrated those into it to add just a little bit more details, and I think it looked really good overall, at least with the bits that we had done so far. Slowly over time, we had eaten through our blackstone supplies, so I quickly had to go back to the Nether, set up my beacon, and gather up, I think I did 3 shulker boxes of straight blackstone just to complete these walls and hopefully the ceiling with that amount. Days 87 through 91 were all consisted of more wall work now that we had finally gotten more blackstone to use on the walls. Which, you know, it was a process. We also had to kind of mine out a little bit more of a space to make sure that everything could be symmetrical. I believe that these were all 17 across, and with how I had the room, it wasn't fitting properly. So I had to do a brief expansion, and then, you know, back to the old kangaroo strat and mining upwards to get all of the blackstone integrated into this, just so it looks nice and smooth and, you know, wall-like, if that is considered to be a phrase. We did quickly finish this, though, towards the middle grounds of these days, around probably like the 89, and then we switched our focus onto the next side with what blackstone we still had, and began making the other side of the wall, which was going to have an identical design, just so it all matched well. Days 92 through 94, I forgot to record because I'm literally stupid. But trust me, it was all just wall work, I believe. Maybe there was like one adventure outside, but that was it. Days 95 through 97 was finally a time to get these walls finished and done with. They took so long. Like, what was this now? Probably a little over 10 days just to get these walls. I don't know if it was that long, actually, but it took a while. And once they were finally done, we began doing this mini wall that was like kind of up above. I don't really know what to call this, but we were integrating an SZ design in for my initials, the subs, of course. So we integrated that into up there, which I think that looked pretty good. And then we kind of did like this little, I don't know what you'd call that, kind of like a circle cross design on the sides. A steering wheel, if you will, like Mario Kart. And we integrated that in, and overall I think that looked pretty great, surprisingly. I went to repair my tools after all that mining, but for some reason my endermite was gone, so I had to get a new one, and that took probably a solid... I don't even know, over 16 pearls was all I know. It was ridiculous, but we finally got that guy, and we're able to once again start farming up the experience to repair our pickaxes and everything. Because they got literally destroyed from doing the wall work, and I don't believe we actually repaired it after mining up all of that blackstone either, so we had a long process here. And we also got Respiration 3 on our helmet. The addition of that Respiration 3 was because of what I planned on day 99, which was the takedown of the Ocean Monument, I believe is what it's called. And this was a fun overall. These guys posed no challenge to me and my vast wealth, as you can see. They got absolutely owned. There was nothing they could do. At some points, there was a lot. There was an overpopulation of guardians in some areas, it seems like. I'm not sure why, but there was a lot of them. It could have actually been because there was not too much water around, not really an ocean around. It was more of just a cube. But we finally found the third one's room after a little while, and we viciously murdered this man out of cold-blooded hatred for all of the times he had accidentally given me haste, or not haste, but mining fatigue too, which is very annoying, and we stole sponges. I don't know why we did this. On day 100, we had to end it with a bang. We couldn't just do nothing, so we respawned the dragon. Because why not? We hadn't fought him in a little while since day 28, so I thought it was a good idea to, you know, respawn him as a little bit of a finale here to the old 100 days that totally survived on. I did not die on day 22 or anything. Shh, didn't happen, really. But yeah, we resummoned them. It was a very fun time. This animation is actually, like, honestly really cool, and the noise that the dragon emits is also stupid. Like, it blows out your eardrums. We turned into a fighter jet throughout this fight. The dragon could do nothing about this. Now that we could fly, you know, he was kind of a loser. He couldn't do anything to us. He just got owned. Aside from right there, ignore that. We did not almost die to the dragon. That never happened. He liked destroying the Enderman. I don't know why. He kind of just targeted those guys. But I tried to melee him to death. I don't know if he just can't take damage in the air or not, but I quickly realized that was a bad idea and just shot him. Now, this isn't quite yet the end. There is still an additional 75 days of building the basement. The dragon was not the end of it. We still had a lot of work left to do, but luckily, we compiled that down into a quick 3-minute compilation, which you will see here after we're done frolicking with Ralop in success and glory over our slain beast. I am genuinely surprised that you made it to the end of this video. It was a very, very, very long, and I never intended to go over 100 days when I started this. However, leaving the basement at a spot where it was not complete just did not feel right. So I decided, we're just going to finish that up, and I did not expect it to go to over 75 days past 100, of course, but that's what ended up happening, and I just decided to grind it out. So anyways, once again, thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. It really does mean a lot, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.